I think independent film is always a high-risk investment, always. But there is potential for a high reward. Not that many indie films get huge and get like worldwide distribution, and like that is the dream that we all have. For the most part, indie films don't really make any money. People do it for the love. And sometimes you're lucky enough to get all the money that you put in back so that you can make your next one. But independent film is not a place to get rich. It's not gonna do that. I think that you're doing awesome in indie film if you're making a living as an indie filmmaker.
I think, if you're looking at an independent and you're trying to make money, trying to have sustainability for the films that you produce, and you want to continue to do more, it is about making money. You either have to make money on the product that you're creating, or you have to have investors that believe in the project that you're working on.
The work that I see out of Asheville is much higher quality than I see coming out of most other major cities, because we just have a lot of people here who are really talented and really driven and really want it to be great. And if it can't be great, they'd rather not do it.
Independent filmmaking is more accessible now than any other time in history, and I think that's only going to continue. I look at just from a technology standpoint, that access of what indie artists could have really probably started when camcorders started being available, when people could own their very own camera.
I'm not attached to a big production company, and the films that I'm making are not funded by a big production company. So everyone around us, we're trying to find money, we're trying to get money, we're trying to make movies that we feel passionate about rather than something that is like pitched to us.
The accessibility, without a doubt, has changed who we are as independent filmmakers. If you can afford a camera, if you have some decent lights and sound equipment and a way to edit this, you can create some amazing works of art.
I started as a theater director. I did that for a really long time, like 25 years. And then I was directing a play, and we were using an acting teaching studio as just a space to rehearse in. And the guy who ran the space is also a film acting teacher. His name's Kevin Patrick Murphy, and he was like, hey, have you ever thought about doing film before? And I was like, no, film is not real art. I was very in theater at that time. And he was like, well, just think about it. Like, I think you might be a great film actor. And eventually I did try it, and I did like film acting. I had an agent, I did the whole thing. And then I found that many of my friends were trying to make movies, but they didn't have anyone who really knew how to shoot them. And so I took a class at the Asheville School of Film, and I thought maybe I would come out knowing something about cinematography. And instead, at the end of the class, I ended up directing the student film, and the teacher there, Brad Hoover, said, you should be directing film. This is what you should be doing. That was in 2018. And I dropped my agent, my acting agent, and I focused on film directing since then. So I ended up making a whole lot of short films. I made 13 shorts, maybe 14. And because they're easy to fund, they're faster to make, and they're a really good calling card as a director for people to kind of know, this is my style, this is what I'm doing. And doing those helped me also to find like a network of people who really wanted to work with me and liked my style, liked being on my crew, and that all sort of led to creating my own production company and shooting my first feature film, which happened this past fall.
Earl Owensby was born in the mountains of North Carolina, adopted when he was really young, a toddler, and raised in Cliffside, North Carolina, which is in Rutherford County, really on the Rutherford County-Cleveland County line. Went to high school, Cliffside, worked at a movie theater when he was a kid. He took tickets, ran projection, sold popcorn, did all that stuff when he was a kid, so developed that love of film kind of early on. And he had multiple businesses throughout his career before he ever got into the filmmaking business. And everything he did he was kind of pioneering stuff. In the mid-'70s, when he decided to go into filmmaking, that changed everything, especially in the state of North Carolina.
I decided to go into the movie business. I didn't decide to make a movie. I said, we are going into the movie business, and I'm going to create a studio, and I'm going to make a movie. And the first one has to be made. If you're going to manufacture automobiles, you have to make the first one.
He saw this film that was shot in McMinnville, Tennessee, called Walking Tall.
It's the picture your neighbors are talking about. Join the audience's applauding. Walking Tall.
A low-budget film that had a lot of success. It was a revenge picture. Earl realized that Walking Tall was one of these models for him. Low budget, but giving people kind of what they wanted. They wanted action. And he realized, okay, this is not shot in Hollywood. It's shot well outside of the Hollywood mainstream. Earl was in North Carolina and said, if they can do that in Tennessee, I can do that here. People looked at him and said, wait a minute, you're going to try to make movies in Shelby, North Carolina, and between Boiling Springs and Shelby, North Carolina? He's like, yeah, why not? It can be done. He created and built a studio and started shooting his first film, Challenge. And he recruited others who had either worked on films or had worked in TV productions or even commercial productions out of the Charlotte region and out of the Asheville region, out of this North Carolina region, and said, I'm going to bring these people in that know how to do this, and we're going to create a film.
The art in the movie business to me is the dead president's pictures, the George Washington's, the Ulysses S. Grant, and little Benny Franklin on the $100 bills. That's the art for him. Yeah.
He always said, if you're creating something, a film especially, it doesn't have to be about art. If it's a business, it ought to be about business. So the art of the business is what it was for him.
What about me?
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
The first film, Challenge, was one of those that for Earl, when he chose to release it, he hoped it would show in North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia. He'd be happy if it made it in the Southeast because from a distribution standpoint, he had some hurdles to jump through. When you're an independent filmmaker, especially in the 70s, there was such a disdain for independent filmmakers from the Hollywood establishment. And so the hoops that Earl had to jump through and the hurdles he had to jump over just to get a film distributed was pretty monumental. And Earl talks about stories of taking his film canisters to New York and screening challenge so he can try to get people to purchase it for distribution. And he did get some distribution out of it, but ultimately he ended up doing self-distribution with a lot of his stuff. Earl Owensby would tell you that all of his films made money. That every project he did when he was in that factory mindset and that studio mindset of creating, all of his films brought back benefits for him.
When you start talking about $30 million for a movie, that's a lot of money. You got to recoup a lot of money to get your money back.
How many Earl Owensby movies would $30 million represent?
Well, I always figured if somebody give me $30 million, I'd put it on a CD at 20%, and I'd make movies to the end of time and still not spend it, if that would answer the question.
Earl Owensby's impact on filmmaking, independent filmmaking especially, was substantial, and he knew that there were other independent filmmakers that could and should have an opportunity to show their works, and maybe those opportunities were limited.
There's huge change going on in how you can get your work seen, and so there are many, many paths, and the festival circuit is one.
Film festivals provide something really unique for those independent artists that may never get picked up by a mass distributor, may never be seen in a theater.
Right now the industry is changing hugely. So it used to be that you made a great film, you sent it to somewhere like Sundance, a distributor loved it, they put it in theaters, you're done. And it was always hard. That was always like, a chance in many thousand and maybe more than that. But that was sort of the pipeline that you had to take.
If you've got any kind of YouTube channel or anything like that where you can self-distribute and get your work out there, that's huge.
Sometimes you'll get a distributor that will take care of things for you, but you can now, with the internet, you can go directly to places, and there are tons of Film Hub and all these places for independent filmmakers where you can get things streaming and in front of people, even YouTube. You can monetize that, you can get people looking at your work in ways that there were always gatekeepers in front of that before.
And I think filmmaking in itself, especially independent filmmaking for those that are not in the mainstream, to be able to find that community of support is tremendous. And that community of support, you see it over and over again when you go to independent film festivals.
Reel to Reel was founded in 2000 by Will Eskridge and Noel Manning. Noel Manning is my father. This year we're having it July 23rd through 26th. It's at the Joy Performance Center in Kings Mountain. A lot of times the filmmakers who bring their films to us, they're not going to get a chance anywhere else to actually sit and watch their film with an audience and watch it on the big screen. And I think that just kind of that's something that you can't stress enough how important that is for independent filmmakers and artists who are, just purely giving everything of themselves to bring a project to fruition.
We are looking for musicians who collaborate with filmmakers. So I think that starting point, being the music, is what makes us different, than the other festivals. We're a music video festival. So there are filmmakers, and I've met them, that only wants to work with musicians and only make music videos. And so they're already in it to win it for that particular category.
When it initially began, I think the plan was for it just to be local, regional films, and just, I don't think, my dad and then Will Eskridge, other co-founder, I don't think they were expecting necessarily to have it open up to become an international film festival, but once they opened up submissions that first year, they started getting films from, Canada I think they got a few from Europe that first year. So it was really an international film festival from day one.
I think I thought it would be mostly about music, but this is something I'm going to lean into more this year. It really is a film event. It's a film screening. It's a film show. So they really have made this event what it is. The filmmakers are the ones that are showing up.
They're often the ones submitting, yeah.
Yeah, they care about music.
A lot of the filmmakers that come through Reel to Reel, they are people who return in the following years, and we have multi-time alumni who they've kind of carved out their niche in the low budget projects, but they make many of those each year, and they've kind of gotten into a rhythm where, okay, this is my place, these are the stories I like to tell, and this is about the production quality that I'm going to have, and I'm going to be able to do this consistently.
There was no way to find local music, and so this was our promotional tool. This was the compact version of people who had their music together enough to produce a video, or produce a song, produce a video. So it really did naturally make like the cream rose out of the crop, and then we had the best to show this is what's happening in the music scene.
So last year we celebrated 25 years. And that was, my first year as festival director, and with a big anniversary like that was a little bit of pressure to live up to, but it went very well. We ended up showing 33 films over the course of 4 days, 5 screening blocks. Last year we had 14 filmmakers in attendance for Q&A sessions. We have best narrative feature film, best short film, best animation, best documentary, and I think for each of those categories we have best professional and best amateur, and then also we have some special awards like Founder's Choice Award. Like last year, Noel Manning gave out just special recognition to his favorite film of the festival, and then I had a Director's Choice Award for my favorite film of the festival as festival director.
During the pandemic, we started using Film Freeway as a submission platform, and no matter how much we put in the rules, you need to be within a 60-mile radius, we still get submissions from all over. So a couple years ago, we decided to open it up to have Best Non-Local USA and Best Non-Local International Awards. The night of Music Video Asheville it's pretty awesome. It's our own version of like we were saying, a sort of a Hollywood style event, but Asheville style. So yes, people do get dressed up Asheville fancy, which is maybe like a tutu, and it's like funky fancy. Some people are fancy. And you would show up at the awards show, you would walk down the red carpet. There are photographers that we have sitting there waiting to take your picture. And another thing that the show will go, you'll see all the videos. We have a program for everybody, so the videos are numbered because there is that people's choice thing at the end of the night, so people can be taking notes and remembering which ones they really like. And then the awards are presented, and then we have a little after party, and everybody hangs out and high fives each other. Yeah, it's a really good time, honestly.
We showed a documentary. There's a North Carolina hip hop group, Little Brother, but they're from Durham, North Carolina, and so there was a documentary that kind of charted their story and their rise, and how they kind of broke up when they're separated and then got back together. But they're Grammy-nominated artists, and we actually had them in person last year for a screening of their documentary and an extended Q&A. I remember a few years ago we had a film that was about the town of Mount Airy, North Carolina, and the connection of that town to the Andy Griffith Show, and the fictional town of Mayberry, which was basically based on Mount Airy. A lot of the UNC School of the Arts films that come through, those filmmakers end up going off to be recognizable names. Jeff Nichols, who directed The Bike Riders, and directed quite a few other films with like Matthew McConaughey and Michael Shannon. He was a UNC-SA alum, and back in 2001 he had a short film at Reel to Reel that was an award winner, and now he's gone on to be a part of Oscar caliber projects. Chadwick Boseman, the late the great, he had a student film that came through Reel to Reel back in 2008. We've had, I think, Bryce Dallas Howard had a film at Reel to Reel as well. And so a lot of the times, the people that go on to be well known, they're not necessarily well known at the time that they submit a reel-to-reel, but we're kind of that launching pad for them.
The group that started it, never wanted it to be about awards. We just wanted to get people to look, you know? The future of music video, and this is something that I'm already looking forward to. The reason why I wanted to get involved is because I'm really interested in immersive experiences with live sound. I feel like that's the future of going to see a band, is that you're going to have visuals too. It's just going to be part of it, because the software is so freaking cool. It's evolving so much. So I'm also putting together an event that's in July that's called The Lobby, and it's going to feature that direction of music, of motion graphics with music, and also music video, Asheville films as well. But where are we going from here with that art form of putting music and film or motion graphics together?
Reel-to-reel is, we often house a lot of those stories that speak to, not just broad things throughout North Carolina, but also very specific stories. When you're able to sit there with the people that have created this work of art, that they've given everything they had to make it a reality, and you're able to, show your appreciation to them and show them that their work of art moved you in some way, that's an experience that is really, you can't really quantify that. It's not something you can put into words, or just like, there's nothing that really compares to that.